Hi, this is Supriyo. So if you are preparing for any bank exams or any insurance exams or any kind of government exam, feel free to join my Telegram group. In the Telegram group, the link you will find in the description below. So basically we discuss about various things, we share ideas, and it's a community where we can upload PDFs and give any kind of free guidance to all aspirants. So if you are preparing for the SEBI Grade A examination, I have put out a detailed video regarding the strategy. You need to follow for that. So you can check out that video. And if you are also preparing for the RBI Assistant examination, the mains, which is going to happen on 29th March of 2020. So you can also check out another video that I have made. So before we start off with the video, I want to give you a quick update about the coronavirus situation in India. So as you know, it is kind of serious right now, even though we are not at risk. So we do not need to panic, but we do need to take a few precautions. So we do not need to be outside like this, but stay indoors as much as possible if you can afford to do that. If you need to go out for work, then try and reduce your contact with people, and make sure that when you come back, you wash your hands for 20 seconds and we can stop the spread of this virus. Let us do all our part in combating coronavirus, and let's go ahead and start the video. So today we are going to talk about the LIC recruitment 2020, the recruitment of the assistant engineers and the assistant administrative officers in the specialist post that LIC has come out with recently. So the registration for this examination is over, and I hope that you have registered, and this video will actually cover all the strategies required to pass all the three phases of the examination, and we are going to see all the nuances of the examination and talk about a lot of things like the salary and also regarding the prospects of this job. So let's begin. The first thing that we are going to talk about is the exam postponement. So as you already know that the RBI assistant mains examination, which was supposed to be held on 29th March of 2020, that has already been called off due to COVID-19. So there is a high probability that LIC will also be postponing their examination due to the coronavirus scare that is currently plaguing through the world, and also the cases in India have shot up quite high, and that's why maybe they will be cancelling it. But as of now, as of today when I am shooting this video, there is still no clarity, and that is why I want you to think that the exam is on and prepare in that way. If the exam is postponed, then well and good, we do not have to worry about that. But right now we should prepare assuming that the date of the exam remains fixed on 4th April 2020. So make sure that you carry on with your preparations. So that's all about the exam postponement. Now regarding the important dates. So the download of the prelims call letter, it's going to happen from 27th March 2020 to 4th of April 2020. So till the last date you can go ahead and download your prelims call letter. And the mains date is still not announced. So it is still something that remains up in the air, and it will all depend upon this coronavirus situation. As I told you, we are not sure about that, so let's think about that later on. Although we are going to discuss about mains in this examination video that I am making today, but you do not need to focus on mains too much at the current moment. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the salary that you can expect as a LIC AAA or at the LIC AE. So the basic pay that you are going to get is rupees 32,795 as a new joinee. So this is the basic pay, remember, and on top of this you are going to get the dearness allowance, you are going to get the house rent allowance. Now the HRA, if you don't get staff quarters or leased accommodation, only then you are going to be entitled to an HRA. And the next thing is the transport allowance. So the transport allowance, it is about 1,000 to 2,000 rupees that you can expect per month. And then you have the CCA, which is the city compensatory allowance, which is right now 3% of your basic. Then you also have the Sodexo meal coupons, and also the maid allowance, the mobile bill, newspaper, etc, etc. So the gross salary right now, it comes down to 62,000 to 72,000 rupees. And if you get a leased accommodation, so the leased accommodation right now for a metro city they are offering 20,000 rupees, for a class A city they are offering 15,000 rupees, class B 10,000 rupees, and so on and so forth. Now the leased accommodation money that will be directly paid to to your apartment owner, so you are not going to see it, but it can help you get a good apartment wherever you stay. So the gross salary that finally comes out after all of these calculations, it is rupees 85,000 to rupees 90,000. So this is the gross salary. This is the CTC that they are going to give you. So after that, you have the deductions of the NPS, the National Pension Scheme, the Provident Fund contributions, the taxes, the group insurance premiums, and miscellaneous deductions are also there. Some of them have been noted in the application, in the notification as well, so you can check it out. After all of the adjustments in hand, how much can you expect in this recruitment, in this post? So in this post, you can get 52,000 to 58,000 rupees net pay in hand. So this is going to be your net salary in your hand per month. Now, another important thing that I want you to know about this recruitment is that it is something that is very, very good for people who are not so well versed in English, and also good for somebody who is not so strong in quants. So you will understand why, but English, if you are not really good at English, then this is the examination that you have to just go full steam ahead on. And also quants, if you are not so sure about your quants, then also this examination is for you. And a person who is actually pretty strong in reasoning, this is your time to shine. So if you are somebody who loves reasoning and who is quite good in reasoning section, then I am confident that you can get yourself selected in this examination. So I'll tell you why as we go ahead. So let's talk a little bit about the work pressure. So in general, the insurance work pressure is a lot lesser than in the banks. So even though the pay is kind of equivalent, so the banking sector also you are going to get similar kind of pay, but still in insurance, the general work pressure is lot less. If you have the ADO post, then you can have a little bit more hectic job, because it is a kind of a marketing kind of a post. You have to talk with a lot of people, get the business for the insurance company. But the AAO post, it is extremely good, and also the AE post. So these two posts, you do not have to do a lot of customer handling. Some departments, yes, you have to talk with customers, you have to do some claim settlements, etc., etc. But the most important departments, they will not have that much of customer dealing, and you can have a job which allows you to work from Monday to Friday and then get 2 days off. Saturday and Sundays are off, and you can have a relatively good work-life balance. So if you are worried about work pressure, then LIC AAO is the recruitment to shoot for, because the insurance sector will just ensure that you have a good work-life balance. The next thing is a very interesting panic that many students have right now been indulging in, is that LIC तो भाई ये तो प्राइवेट हो जाएगा, तो अभी इसमें घुसने का कोई मतलब ही नहीं होता है, हम तो प्राइवेट नौकरी कर लेंगे फिर. That is not true. I have already made a video, so you can find the link up top, that actually talks in detail about the budget recommendations, about the budget, all the announcements. So the LIC is not going to be privatized right now. In the video I have explained everything. Go check it out if you want to. I don't want to waste your time by discussing the same thing over here. So let's not waste time thinking about these silly things. The answer is a big no, and do not fear. This is 100% government job, and the LIC is not going to become privatized overnight. So you can relax regarding that. Yes, there is going to be some consolidation in the insurance sector. So many of the insurance companies, they can get clubbed together, but LIC as of now is not going to get impacted. So rest assured. Okay, the next thing is the other conditions. So you should also note that there is a 1 year of probation which can be extended to 2 years. So it might be that your probation period is for 2 years. Usually it will be for 1 year, your probation. Then you will become a confirmed officer in LIC. And also, very importantly, you have a 4-year bond of rupees 5 lakh plus GST. So if you leave LIC within 4 years, you have to pay this amount of 5 lakhs. They will make you sign a bond, and plus GST, whatever amount is there, you have to pay back to LIC, and only then they will allow you to leave the organization. So please bear this in mind when you are entering. So the next thing is the prelims examination. So I will blow up this image so you can check, and we can discuss about the prelims thing. So very importantly, the date is 4th April 2020 as of now. COVID-19 has not impacted it. at the time of recording. If it does, I will definitely update you. So the test, it will have 3 sections. Now please note, this is very, very important that there will be separate sectional timings for this test. So the duration that you can see on the left hand side, this duration is the actual duration for which these sections, the individual sections, will be visible to you. And another very important thing, do not assume that the examination is going to start with the reasoning section. Do not assume that. It might not be. It might be that the exam starts with English section, or it might start with the quant section, anything. But the important thing to note is that the reasoning section will be available to you for only 20 minutes. The English, it will also be available for 20 minutes, and quant will be available for 20 minutes. There is sectional locking and you cannot escape out of this section once it is presented to you. So only after you finish this section, the clock timer will run out, and then you will be navigated automatically to the next section. Now let us discuss about another very interesting thing, which is very typical to LIC, is that the English language section, it will carry a maximum marks of 30, but very, very importantly, this section is only of qualifying nature and the marks will not be counted for ranking. What does this mean? This means that in English, you just have to qualify. You do not have to add the marks up in the final tally. So this is why I said that if you are not so strong in the English section, this examination is for you, because you can see that the maximum marks for English, it is 30, but the minimum qualifying marks, the eligibility is 10 marks for general and the other streams, and SC, ST and persons with benchmark disability, they have only 9 marks qualifying required. So out of this 30, if you get 9 as SC, ST, or if you get 10 as general, then you have passed this section, and any further amount of marks is not going to help you in the final tally. So this is going to be only of qualifying nature. तो इंग्लिश सेक्शन के लिए हमें फिक्र नहीं करना है कि कितना मार्क्स हमको लेके आना है, अच्छा मार्क्स हमको स्कोर करना है, ऐसा रिक्वायरमेंट है नहीं इस एग्जाम का. तो दिस इज समथिंग दैट विल एक्चुअली हेल्प यू अ लॉट. एंड लेट्स गो ओवर टू द रीजनिंग सेक्शन नाउ. सो द रीजनिंग सेक्शन, द मैक्सिमम मार्क्स इज 35, number of questions is also 35, so 1 mark for each question, and the minimum qualifying marks for general candidates is 18, for SC, ST and PWDs is 16. So the reasoning ability section, you have to have a minimum of this amount of marks. So these are all minimum, remember. And now we move to the quant section. So the quant section, number of questions will be 35, maximum marks is 35, and also the minimum qualifying marks is the same as reasoning. It is 18 marks for the general people, and for SC, ST and PWDs it is 16 marks. So these minimum marks you have to get, and just getting these minimum marks is not going to be enough to get selected in the final list, because these are only the minimum scores. So just note the thing that is written down there, that for the mains they are going to select 20 times of each category vacancies to be selected. So basically the general vacancies, so I'll just throw you up a list of the vacancies. So general, as you can see, there are 26 vacancies in total. So 26 into 20, 520 total people for general are going to be selected. For SC there are 6, so 6 into 20, it's going to be 120 total people who are going to get selected. So like this, 20 times of each vacancy is going to be called for the mains examination. So that is something that they have already told you. So just getting these minimum marks, it's not going to be enough. You have to score as much marks as possible. Now the English section, you just have to pass. So just getting above 10, that's fine for English, but for quants and for reasoning, you have to focus and get as much marks as possible to ensure that you are selected for the mains examination. Now that's all about that. So let's talk a little bit about the mock tests. So for the prelims examination, I do not think that olive board is required, even though I always recommend it. I don't think that for prelims you need it. It's going to be totally overkill. So grade up or top rankers, these are the two tests that I actually recommend for this examination. Go ahead, if you can just get a hold of one, it's okay. If you can get a hold of both, then it's all the more better, but even one will be enough. Just you have to practice mock tests, and you have to find out your weak areas, and you have to take action to improve those areas.
practice mock is not so great for the LIC examination, so I would ask you to avoid that. And for the books, if you're asking for the books, so there is a very good book, the Disha Experts book on the prelims, so you can go ahead and check that out if you want to get a book, or you can get an ADDA 24/7 book on the LIC AAO and AE prelims. So that book is also quite a new book, and also a very good book that you can use for clearing this examination. And now let's talk about the sectional strategy that you will need. So for the sectional strategy in the reasoning section, I ask you always to go for 3 passes. So how are you going to go ahead for the 3 passes? The first pass, that is the first time that you are going to scan the paper very fast. So remember, you have 35 marks and you have only 20 minutes in which you can solve that paper. So you have to be very fast and you have to get those easy marks in the beginning. So first pass, the first time you scan the paper, pick out the direction sense questions, the blood relations questions, syllogism questions, coding decoding questions, and the inequalities. That will help you to fetch a lot amount of marks right away. Then you can go ahead for the data sufficiency, the alphanumeric symbol series, the machine input output, and at the end you can go for the order and ranking, the logical reasoning section, and also the seating arrangements and the puzzles, which I do not recommend to start off with. You can go ahead and do those at the end. And remember, for some descriptive type questions that we see in the reasoning question nowadays, you can go ahead and read the questions first. So read the questions, what are they asking, and then you read that wall of text. You read that text after you see the questions. So that will actually help you save time in the prelim section, because you have to work very fast. The questions are not going to be very hard for prelims, but you still have to actually solve them very fast. And that's all about the reasoning section. And make sure that for the LIC AAO and the AE exam, you practice reasoning a lot, because the success of your endeavors in this examination is going to be extremely dependent on the reasoning section. If you can master the reasoning section, then prelims you are going to get, and also in the mains we'll be seeing just now, reasoning plays a vital role. So let's go over to the English section. So this is going to be the easiest section, and it's very simple. You only need to get 10 marks if you are a general candidate, and lesser than that if you are SC, ST or PWD. And just target the closure test, the fillers, sentence errors, and the vocab. So my belief is that if you get all of those correct, you can easily get 10 marks. And if you really need to, just read one RC carefully. You will have ample amount of time, believe me, because 20 minutes is a long amount of time to just score 10 marks. And you attempt that at least one reading comprehension properly. So just finish reading that and you just attempt that question. I am pretty sure that you can go ahead and get a decent score, and you can pass this section without any problem. So don't worry about English. Just have some habits of solving these sentence errors and the vocabs and closure tests, etc. So go ahead to the next section, the quant section. So this section is going to be very scoring, but in this section you are going to struggle with the time, because 20 minutes is not a long time to finish off the entire section unless you have a very fast calculative ability. So try and improve your calculative ability, because calculations, as fast as you can do the calculations, it will be beneficial for you. And try and find out those quick maths kind of ways in which you can tackle those questions instead of solving for the entire thing. You can also try back solving. So sometimes you can put the value and you can check the answer easily. So if you have formed the equation, you can just take those the options that are given to you and back solve and find those answers. So I hope that you know all those tricks. And let's go ahead and take a look at this section. So you have to hunt for these types of questions in this section: the quadratic equation, the series question, the number series. So some of them might be hard, but most of the number series in prelims is going to be very easy. So try and get those done. Very scoring, very easily you can get. Approximation and the simplification as well. So these questions are extremely easy, low hanging fruits. So you can go ahead and take those. And the problems on ages, time and work, speed and distance, profit and loss, partnerships, ratios and probability. So all these questions are very easy, and you can go ahead and attempt these in the beginning of your paper and secure your easy marks. And only after you have finished all of those things, you can tackle the DI. So if you have time, go for the DI. Otherwise, you do not need to go for the data interpretation. I will say that avoid the data interpretation for the prelim section unless you have finished all the other questions. So that will help you to get a good amount of marks, and you will surely be able to to clear prelims. And now we have finished off with the prelims, we come to the main section. So I will again blow up this image for you. So as you can see, the interesting thing about the mains examination is that there is no quant. So this is a game changer, because there is no quantitative aptitude over here. If you are weak in maths, it does not matter. Secondly, another thing that you have to understand, first I'll just tell you the pattern. So there are going to be 300 marks which will be actually counting. So this will be objective type questions for 300 marks, and there is going to be a descriptive paper of the English language for 25 maximum marks. So the interesting thing is that these 25 marks, the descriptive paper, this will not be added in your final tally. This is again, like prelims, going to be of qualifying nature. So what does this mean? This means that you have to get a minimum of 10 marks if you are a general candidate, or if you are a SC/ST or PWD candidate, you have to get a minimum of 9 out of these 25 marks, and you will be qualified for the English section. So the English section will not be added in your final tally. This is a game changer, because people who are not so strong in English, they will also get a lot of boost because of these things. And the important 4 papers, they are going to be reasoning ability, general knowledge and current affairs, professional knowledge, and insurance and financial markets. So each of these 4 sections, they have a total of 30 questions each, and the marks are going to be differing now. So interestingly, let's see the reasoning ability section. The maximum marks for reasoning, it's going to be 90 marks. So reasoning, can you believe that 90 marks? It's so important that you are good in reasoning for this examination, and the qualifying the minimum number of marks that you need, 50% you have to score. So 45 marks if you are a general candidate, or if you are SC/ST or PWD, 40 marks. So that is the amount of marks that you need to secure your minimum marks in reasoning. But I will suggest that don't look at the minimum marks, try and score as much as possible in this section. Again, this section is also going to be time locked, so section locking is there, and for reasoning ability section, you only have 40 minutes. So the paper will be there, 40 minutes are going to be counted, and after 40 minutes are over, automatically the paper will go to the next section. So 40 minutes and only 30 questions carrying 90 marks. So you can understand it's going to be a little bit higher difficulty type of questions. So try and make your reasoning very strong. This will determine whether you crack this exam, believe me. The next section is the general knowledge. So the general knowledge, everybody these days understands the importance of the general knowledge. Again, 30 questions are there, but this time the maximum marks are only 60. So 2 marks per question. Now the qualifying marks again is 50%. So 30 marks you have to get if you are general, or if you are SC/ST or PWD, you have to get the 27 number of marks. And this duration is 20 minutes. So 20 minutes is more than enough to solve this paper. You won't have any time issues, but just try and cover daily current affairs. This is very important. Daily you should add current affairs to your list, and you should just make a list of daily current affairs so that you can revise it later on. So I will suggest that write it down daily, and after the month is over, take a PDF and just cross check whichever ones you have missed, and you add them to your tally. Now for current affairs, I have already made a 121 questions MCQ set, so you'll find the link up top. So this question list, it actually has questions from February of 2020. Most of them are for February 2020, and I will definitely bring more out so that you can be helped with this section. And let's go over to the next section, which is the professional knowledge section. So in this professional knowledge section, there is going to be 30 number of questions and a maximum of 90 marks. So professional knowledge is also going to be a very important section, because as you can see, reasoning and professional knowledge, both of them have maximum of 90 marks. So if these 2 sections are very good for you, then you can easily crack this examination. Again, duration is not going to matter. It is 40 minutes, enough time to solve this. Minimum marks for general is 45, and for SC/ST and PWD is 40. So you have to try and get as much possible out of this section to maximize your chances. So professional knowledge we are going to talk about a little while later. The next thing is the insurance and the financial markets. So again, 30 questions and this also 60 marks, so not the 90 marks like the professional knowledge, it is a little lesser. And also the minimum marks is 27 and 30, and the duration is 20 minutes. So this is also, duration is not going to matter so much, so it's important to cover the length of the syllabus very well. And of course the English that we already talked about, 25 marks, which is not going to be added, but only qualifying marks need to be secured. So your total paper is going to be 325. So 300 marks are very important, because those marks will be used to actually determine whether you are going to get selected for the interview, and 25 marks are only there so they can understand that you are good at English and you can work in a professional setting. And so now we just move to the mocks first. So the mocks, you can use the olive board mock. So I will highly recommend the olive board mock for the mains examination, because their mocks are one of the highest quality, and in olive board they have very good questions for the professional knowledge as well. So all of the different professional knowledge you can get, and also the top rankers and grade up. So use olive board as one of your sources, and the second source use top rankers or grade up, anyone. So two sources if you use, you can easily get a lot of questions that you can cover. And just try to understand one very simple thing, which is that just attempting a lot of mocks, that's not going to help you for your mains examination. For prelims it might help you, because prelims is all about the speed, it's about a sprint, it's a 100-meter race, prelims, as we know. But this mains examination, you are not going to be starved of time except for the reasoning section. So try and ensure that your reasoning is very good. That is the section that you need to very much work upon. But for the other sections, mocks are not so necessary, but you have to finish the entire syllabus. So try and cover the syllabus for general knowledge, current affairs, professional knowledge, insurance and financial market. For reasoning, try to focus more on mocks. So I hope that you understood what I wanted to say. And for the professional knowledge, now we come to the professional knowledge thing. So the assistant engineer posts, civil, electrical, assistant architect, structural, mechanical, electrical and plumbing engineering. So these things, mostly the professional knowledge will be determined by the things that you studied in your graduation examinations. So there is not too much to think about it. Just revisit those questions and try and find out some MCQ type questions of these things. So I think that you already know your subject because you have graduated from this, so it will not be so much difficult for you. And also for the AAO post of the chartered accountant, now for the chartered accountants as well, professional knowledge will be just regarding all of the things that you have already read about in your chartered accountancy course. And also the actuarial sciences now. So the actuarial sciences, they are basically some qualifications that they have to go through, and those are the books that you have to refer. The questions from there will be asked. And for legal also, the same type of things are going to be asked that you have already read about. And of course the Raj Bhasha, you are already knowing what they are going to be asking, because it's just a test of your Hindi aptitude and all of these things. So you can do one thing, you can join my Telegram group that I have. So in that Telegram group I have uploaded the syllabus for the SEBI grade A. So the legal people, you can try and see what they are asking in SEBI, and that will actually help you in this examination as well. And also for the Raj Bhasha, you can go ahead and check the syllabus that I had uploaded in the group. So it will actually help you a lot in that group. So moving on to the AAO IT. So IT I wanted to discuss a little bit separately, because I feel that electronics people are also going to go for IT and they have a lot of difficulties to understand the syllabus, what is going to be asked. So mainly you have to cover data communication and networking parts, DBMS questions you have to cover the operating system, and you have to cover also the fundamentals of software engineering. So there are very few good books actually that can help you, and to help you with that I have actually made a list of the best books that you can refer. So some of you might already have these books because these were a part of your syllabus. If you don't, you can go ahead and take a look at these books. So Data Communication and Engineering by Behrouz A. Forouzan. So that is a very good book on data communication and networking. It will help you prepare thoroughly. DBMS, so Fundamentals of Database System by Elmasri, Ramez. This is also a very good book. And operating system, of course, the main important book is Galvin and Silberschatz book. So that is also a very important book that you can refer. And for the fundamentals of software engineering, you can go ahead and check out Rajib Kamal's book, and this will actually help you. So try and refer your things from these 4 books, and also try and find out the MCQ type questions that are asked in the specialist officer examination of the IBPS and also the specialist officer IT examination of the SBI. So SBI and IBPS, those are the examinations that you have to refer to. So I will try and bring out some MCQs if I get some time, but you already understand most of these things. So if you want any additional inputs about the syllabus and other things, so please feel free to write in the comments down below, and I will definitely try and help you out. And so let's talk a little bit about the insurance and the financial markets. So for the financial markets, you will be knowing you have to cover the history of the financial scene in India. So the Indian economic financial thing you have to cover. You have to cover the RBI, you have to cover the banks and all of those things. So you are actually covering those things already from the banking awareness PDFs, which are provided by all of the various current affairs providers. So banking awareness PDFs, if you cover, you can easily cover the financial markets part. But what about the insurance market? So I wanted to show you the insurance markets, whatever they can ask you from that. So for insurance part, you can read about these topics. They will actually help you get fully prepared about insurance market, because that becomes a very important part of your syllabus, and it also helps you in your interview. So the history of insurance in India, just read about it. Liberalization of insurance. So earlier the insurance industry was very tightly regulated. So after liberalization, what happened? The private companies that came up, and how it actually changed the insurance penetration, how it actually helped in the financial awareness, and also a little bit about the financial inclusion via insurance. So the next thing is the current scenario of the insurance industry, the outlook, and what about the new technologies being employed. Also you can talk about the what is the insurance, and that is a very important topic to read. All the important terms with the insurance, so like the sum assured, and also regarding the maturity date, the maturity amount, and the surrender value, etc., etc. All of the different things that the insurance industry actually uses. So the next thing is the topic about subclasses, which is the life insurance and the general insurance. So what are the primary differences between the two, how the claims are settlement, what is the CSR or the claim settlement ratio, and all the various different principles of insurance. And you can read about IRDA, so the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. You can read about the history of the IRDI and the current role in India. Then you have to cover the LIC history till now, so that is also a very important topic. The insurance ombudsman, that is also something that is there, like the banking ombudsman, and that also is a very important topic. And then you have to cover the ULIPs, which is the unit linked insurance plans, and the PMJJBY, the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, the PMSBY, the Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, the PMJAY, the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, the PMFBY, which is the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and the various other schemes. So the ABNHPM and all the different kinds of schemes that the government comes out with, you have to read a lot about these things as well to cover the insurance sector properly. So that is all about the insurance sector coverage that you need to do. And the other details which I wanted to talk to you about is normalization. So this examination is going to be held in different shifts. So normalization is going to play a huge role, and negative marking is not mentioned in the notification, but I am pretty damn sure that negative marking will be there in this examination. Standard minus 0.25. So basically 1/4 of your marks will be deducted for each wrong answer. So it will be 1/4 of your marks. So not just minus 0.25, it can be minus 0.5 as well if the question has 2 marks. So remember, 1/4 of the marks is going to be deducted for the wrong answers. So when the examination paper is presented to you, when you are in that room, there are a set of guidelines in front that you can read, and there only there will be everything written. So you can just read down and see that if there is negative marking or not. I am pretty sure that negative marking is there because it has always been there. So don't discuss too much about this, and prepare as if negative marking is there. All the mock tests have been prepared in the same manner as well. So let's move over to the final section of this entire examination, the third tier, which is the interview part. So what do we need to know about it? So only the mains marks is going to decide who makes it, and the English marks in the mains examination, the English descriptive marks are not going to count. It is the 300 marks that we were talking about. That 300 marks, out of that whatever you get, that is going to determine whether you make it to the interview. Now 3 times of the number of vacancies will be called for the interview. This is also something that is very good, very well stated. So the number of vacancy, do 3 times of that, and then you will find out how many people are going to be called and what are your chances. And the interview usually ranges from about 10 to 20 minutes. It's quite simple. There is nothing to be afraid about during the interview, because it's a very simple thing. And just note the minimum marks. So I'll blow up this thing for you. So the minimum marks, as you can see, that maximum marks are 60 for the interview, and the qualifying marks for the EWS, the general, OBC are 30 marks, and the qualifying marks for the ST, SC and the persons with benchmark disabilities, it is 27. So if you do not get the minimum marks, then you are not going to get selected in the final merit list. And also another thing that you have to understand, this the similar marks. So I'll blow this up for you as well. So in case you have similar marks, so if 2 or more candidates have similar marks, then the merit list, it shall be determined by the aggregate marks in the online main examination and the interview. So as per their marks in the main examination and the interview, they are going to be chosen. And if those marks are also not able to distinguish them, then they will be going for the additional post graduation qualification. So therefore the person with higher educational qualification will be placed higher in the merit order. So if somebody has higher marks, higher qualification, then that person is going to get preference. Also, if the similar educational qualification is seen, then it will be decided on the basis of age. So seniority also plays a huge role in this examination, and this is something that LIC has full discretion over. You cannot object to any of these things, and so this is something that we just have to accept. And the final thing is the coverage for the interview. So in the interview, we have to cover your profile section. So profile coverage is very important. You have to note about the various departments of LIC, the use of the insurance penetration. So the market insurance penetration, how you can actually improve that, because that is something that India is struggling with, and whether insurance is an investment or not. So this is kind of a trick question that they can ask you. They can ask you the 7 principles, the 7 basic principles of insurance. So the principle of utmost good faith, the principle of insurable interest, then also the principle of the proximate clause, indemnity, subrogation, contribution and loss minimization. So all the important principles of insurance you have to have on your fingertips. Then the basic terms like sum assured, maturity, till which date should the premium be paid. So there are some googly questions based on that also. So why insurance and not banking, that is also something that is asked sometimes. And if you are an engineer, of course, your motivations to get into LIC, that is something that is very crucial. And you also have to convey your story, as I always say. So you can check out another video that I made. It's about the interview, how you can actually craft your own story and how you can actually impact people in the interview room. That is also something that I really talk about in that video, so you can go ahead and watch that. And this is all that we needed to discuss about the LIC AAO and the LIC AE strategy. So I hope that you have understood all of the things that I have talked about, and I hope that you have learned something from this video and that it was beneficial to you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.